To all of you joining us here in the chapel and on YouTube, we're especially glad to have those of you who may be with us for the first time. To see you again soon. So today I'm your worship leader. My name's Katie Norris, and we will be hearing a sermon from our own Reverend Rob. I would like to give our land acknowledgement. We're not there. Should I go forward? Okay. Eastrose Fellowship sits on the occupied territory of the Clackamas Chinook people who were forcibly displaced from this land to the Grand Ronde Reservation in 1855. We acknowledge the sacrifices endured by ancestors of this land and that our presence here today is possible because of the injustices committed against them. We recognize the inherent sovereignty of the Chinook Nation and Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, who carry on the traditions, history, and legacy held by their ancestors from time immemorial to this day. We seek meaningful relationships with these communities that foster repair. Let's take a moment now to greet each other here today, and both in the chapel and online. So please stand and face the cameras in the back by the clock. Wave hello to our friends online. Hopefully they can see us. And then to turn to your neighbor and say hello. They can? I have no idea. I'm just going to read the chart. The show must go on. Yeah. It's 5 minutes. Are they not in our hymnals? Okay. You can also help sing. Hi. Hello. How are you? No. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever be over the election. But
peace with it myself.
Well, I mean, the day I woke up, just felt calm. Not that I got just religious, that I Do we have online guests? It's The Limits of Tyrants by Frederick Douglass, and I'll read the first part and you can read the response. The old-fashioned way with the books. $5.79. All right. I'll wait a moment for people to get the books. Oh, wait. Okay, cool. So now let's go to the slide for the responsive call to worship. All right, I'll start. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are people who want crops without plowing the land, oh, the ground, sorry. They want the ocean without the roar of its waters. The struggle may be a moral one, or it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. Find out what people will submit to, and you have figured out the exact amount of justice which will be imposed on them. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress.
Requiem, traditional classic
In honor of those who have served and those who continue to serve at home and abroad for peace and war, we light our chalice and we offer our thanks.
Good morning, everyone. So good to see you all here today and for us to be able to gather together and have our beautiful choir lead the way today. I'm the Reverend Robin Zucker. If this is your first time here, we welcome you, community. Today, poet Walt Whitman, a poem he wrote in 1860, which was the Civil War. And he said in this poem, I hear America singing. I hear America singing, varied carols I hear, those of should be blithe, strong, his as he measures his plank and beam, mason singing his as he makes ready for work or leaves off work, the boatman singing what belongs to him in his boat, the deckhand singing on the steamboat deck, the shoemaker singing as he sits on his as he stands, the woodcutter's song, the plowboys on his way in the morning or at noon intermission or at sundown, the delicious singing or the young wife at work or the girl sewing or washing, each singing what belongs to them and to no one else, belongs to the day, at night, the fellows, all singing with open mouths their strong melodic songs. Our opening song today is a folk song that I believe many of you probably know. It's If I Had a Hammer. Pete Seeger, and I invite you to stand as you're willing and able. The words will be on the screen.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Have you ever noticed how during election time, grown-ups sometimes act like they're picking teams? Maybe you've seen different signs in yards or heard people disagreeing about who should be president. Well, I want to share a story about a playground where something similar happens. In this book, two kids named Jonah, not to be confused with our Jonah, and Lennox both want to be in charge of the playground, and they start asking all the other kids to pick sides. We'll see what happens to their playground and their friendships when everyone feels like they have to choose between two leaders. As we read, let's note how it feels when a community is divided and what makes things better in the end. This is The Playground, written and illustrated by Joseph Keffler. One morning, Jonah decided to become ruler of the playground. "Now king of this land," announced Jonah, "to obey me, and I'll let you play in my kingdom." Jonah's kingdom had slides, everyone Pinky promised. And just like that, Jonah became king of the playground. King Jonah was thrilled. "Look at me." In some ways, I ordered this tree to move. And generous. "Who's hungry?" "Most of the time. You can share this cracker." Everyone played in King Jonah's kingdom, everyone except for Lennox, because she wanted to rule the playground. "This playground is now mine. My rules." Lennox's kingdom had swings, so they crossed the and that Lennox became a mighty queen. Queen Lennox was wise. What? In most cases. I totally meant to do that. And patient. Take your time. Most days. "Okay, enough already." Everyone played in Queen Lennox's kingdom. Everyone except for King Jonah. "This playground is mine," hollered King Jonah. "It's all mine." Just like that, the playground was divided in two. King Jonah and Queen Lennox each made a plan to grow their kingdoms. They conquered small things. "Push," said King Jonah. "Harder." "Spin," said Queen Lennox. "Faster, faster." And big things. "Climb," shouted King Jonah. "Higher," hollered Queen Lennox. They even tried to conquer and Humphrey Hildebrand III. "Stay," hollered King Jonah. "Fetch," shouted Lennox. King Jonah and Queen Lennox claimed the entire playground until there was nothing left to conquer and no friends to play with. "Conquering is complicated," said King Jonah. "Yeah," said Queen Lennox, "super complicated." So they made a new plan. They took down their royal flag, gave back their kingdoms. Jonah stopped being king. Lennox stopped being queen. "We're done conquering," said Jonah. "We cross our hearts and promise to never be rulers again," said Lennox. And just like that, the playground was fun again. Happy. Augustine and Sir Humphrey Hamilton Hildebrand III. Story, our community is held together by the love we share with each other, and that love is bigger than any election or who's in charge. No matter what happens, we can keep choosing each other. And now let's say goodbye to Reverend Robin and the adults and continue. So wait here with me for 1 second. We're going to and they're going to sing us out.
I invite you now to some quiet time together. Comfortable closing your eyes and uncrossing your arms and legs, putting your feet on the floor, and taking an exhale, inhale, and just to start, just to clear, just to create spaciousness, Drop your shoulders. Usually we have our shoulders high. We don't even see if you can feel where you have tension in your face and relax your face from your forehead down to your jaw. Move your jaw. See if it's tight. Move your arms. See if they're tight. Your fingers. This stressful week, we tend to hold that in our bodies and maybe even barely breathe. So we're going to breathe. 4 beats in slowly through your nose, 5 or 6 beats out slowly through your mouth, creating a steady rhythm, creating spaciousness and peacefulness inside of you. 5 or 6 out through your mouth. Just breathe. And we'll breathe quietly together for a while. My colleague, the Reverend Mark Bellatini, laments, "One day I pray in clean windows, reflections of family, not mouths open in fear. One day I pray in human hearts a prayer of thanksgiving for a peace that has lasted not a peace, but an end, peaceful and rich and just. Children live in such a and live. And what indeed can we do? We can breathe. We can feel heartache. We can breathe. Between what we can do before we have thought and what we can do after we have thought. We can breathe. We can remember the ways our feelings serve our minds. We can breathe. We can refuse to sign our lives into the service of panic or hand-wringing or defeat. We can breathe. We can get clear on our most basic core values. We can breathe. Blessed are your breath, for you are the spirit that will sustain me in difficult days. Continue to breathe. Slowly come out of your breathing pattern, and then a great big exhale and a big ah. Ah. We'll remain for our quiet song. It's number 169 in the Gray Hymnal, but the words will be on the screen. Another song I believe you'll be familiar with, We Shall Overcome.
This is a reading by American writer and activist Rebecca Solnit. They want to them trample everything, and you are not going to let them. You are not giving up, and neither am I. The fact that we cannot save everything does not mean we cannot save everything, and everything we can save is worth saving. Take time off. You have a role no matter what, and right now good friends and good principles are worth gathering in. Remember what you love. Remember what loves you. Remember in what love is. The pain you feel is because of what you love. The Wobblies used to say, don't mourn both at once, and you don't have to in this moment mourning. You can be heartbroken, or both at once. You can scream in your car, or you can also get up tomorrow and water the flowers, call someone who's upset, and check your equipment for going onward. A lot of us are going to come under direct attack, and a lot of us are going to resist by building solidarity and sanctuary. Resources, the metaphysical ones, our heart and soul and care, as well as the practical ones. People kept the faith in the dictatorships of South America in the 1970s and 1980s, in the East Bloc countries and the USSR. Women are protesting right now in Iran, and people there are writing poetry. There is no alternative to persevering. And that does not require you to feel good. You can keep walking, sunny or raining. Take care of yourself, and remember that taking care of someone is an important part of taking care of yourself, because you are a million things in this single garment of destiny that has been strained and torn, but is still being woven and mended and washed.
This country humorous, but he was also one of our most astute social critics. Perhaps you may have heard a story from Mark Twain. I built a cage, in it and I put a cat. After a little training, I got the dog and the cat to the point where they could live peaceably together. Then I introduced a pig, a goat, a kangaroo, some birds, and a monkey. And after more training and a few adjustments, they learned to live in harmony together. So encouraged by such successes as Twain, a Catholic, a Presbyterian, a Muslim from Turkestan, and a Buddhist from China, along with a Baptist missionary I captured on the same trip. And in a very short while, a single thing living left in the cage. Perhaps this version would include a member of the MAGA faithful, campaigners for women's reproductive freedoms and LGBT class Americans who can't afford groceries or rent, Bernie Sanders, and Elon Musk. And in a very short while, I believe there wouldn't be living thing in the cage. 'Tis a pity. I ended up this morning with 20 newspaper headlines in the other. Like many of you, I've come here with my heart in my puzzling questions buzzing in my head, and a really profound sorrow throbbing in my soul for our country. Among this jumble of emotions, I feel shock, disappointment, and some anger over the outcome, and I gather with you in a kinship of grief and reflection. We are heartbroken, and as I see it, and as the title of my sermon suggests, we have two tasks before. The first is to grieve, and the second is to reckon. Rebecca Solnit, who Katie read for us a moment ago, said we need to mourn and then regroup and organize. But we begin with grief. We need to reaffirm that grieving takes time. It's not a proposition. It's a live with it. Weave into the tapestry of reality and endure. A woman I know in the UU bluntly wrote on media this week, "Buttercup, not helpful at all. This was on Wednesday. No one needs to suck it up this week. Losing the election feels like losing a loved one. And that loved one is the America we cherish and believe in. So this grieving must also be taken seriously. The Beatitudes remind us, blessed, for they shall be comforted. And an aspect of grieving, care, and an exhausting whirlwind, so enervating. Engage in practices that regulate and calm your nervous system. Make art, seek joy, sing, offer love, believe, breathe. Speak your fears and feelings to someone you trust. My door is always open. I'm going to make an assumption that we're all asking ourselves in this particular milieu, a tyrant prevailed over a well-spoken, democracy-loving champion of progressive values who campaigned with hope and dignity. How is our faith in populists so misplaced? Have we been naive about the values that 52% of voters support, our fellow Americans? Honestly, is our liberal bubble so great? In his article in Pretending Trump is Not Who We Are, opinion columnist Carlos Lozado in the New York Times reminds us, when Trump first began his ascent into presidential politics, some readers Sinclair Lewis's 1935 novel called It Can't Happen Here, about homegrown authoritarianism in the United States. In the story, Jessup, a liberal-minded newspaper editor, marvels at the power of Buzz Windrip, a crudely charismatic demagogue who the country and then imposes totalitarian rule. Jessup tells us that the insanity won't last, that they can wait it out. However, when it does endure, Jessup blames himself and his liberal cohort. We had it coming, we respectables, he laments. And as a side note, in the 30s, there was an attempt by a fascist sect in Congress to take over America, a piece of history we really don't hear a lot about. I don't believe we had this coming. We did miss the signs that Trump was something more than a cartoon strongman. Like you, I'm concerned about the emboldening of right-wing militia groups, white supremacists, Christian nationalists, misogynists, racists, and transphobes roaming our streets, swathed in automatic weapons, bullying and creating havoc under the guise that somehow they've been given now permission and oppress. I'm concerned about the potential for this impulse to explode into a full-scale or a global World War III. We're already hearing from right-wing, misogynist, racist darlings like Nick Fuentes, who has posted a sinister TikTok gleefully proclaiming, "Your body, my choice." People liked that post and reposted it. It's chilling. In response, he was what's called doxed. His address and phone number is now widely available on the internet. I guess you get what you pay for. There's been a really disturbing report of widespread text demanding that African American teenagers report for slave duty all over the country. Alarmist? I think not. But I and all of us need to move forward with more than our fingers crossed and the news turned off. We can't put our heads in the sand. In order to stop a civil war or other unrest, we need to be willing to openly imagine it as a possibility, as horrific as that imagining will be. A chilling ethnicity. Yesterday was the anniversary, which is really seen as the beginning of the Nazi rise to power and their reign of terror. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, where we honor the thousands of Americans who have fought and died, but have fought for the basic core principles that America has always stood for. We must reckon with what has happened and what might come next. And yet, this isn't America's first dangerous moment and a threat to our democracy and civil order. We've lived through many national wars and political upheavals. But it's a good starting point to ask, what might have gone wrong? We just received the hard reality that most Americans are more driven by issues like the price of gas and the border than issues like LGBTQ rights, reproductive freedom. It's just, we might even feel sad. Yet, rather than wring our hands and point fingers and continue labeling, what can we learn and what can we apply toward success in future ways who with us so profoundly? You know, this is not an indictment of us and that what we care about is wrong. I'm proud of what we care about. Yet, you just need to read in the election. There are a lot of Monday morning or Wednesday morning quarterbacks out there at the moment. Discern the trend of what we might learn. That the Democratic Party has, in one person's view, become the party of educated urban professionals. And if you look at the voting map, you see some truth in that. And that most Americans, it turns out, did share Trump's grievances back on the working class in favor of promoting the rights of specific populations. Now, of course, this is an election for the working class. He's poised to give a tax break to billionaires and put billionaires in his cabinet. And as a side note, when asked, exit polls could not define authoritarianism and shown policies before the election without candidates' names attached to them, they preferred Perez's policies quite significantly. Now, true or false to many of these things, hard and bitter pill to swallow. It feels like gazing into a surreal mirror that reflects an America that does seem to view Trump and his base as champions of core American values and true patriotism. Really, that word has been co-opted. Patriotism means that you love your country and you want it to be the best it can be. That's what it is, not nationalism, not a specific of what a patriot is. And now we conspiracy theories, or I preached about conspiracy theories, we have conspiracy theories now on the left, spreading the story that Elon Musk hacked all the voting machines in the swing states with his sky system. And I spend my time because daylight is already burning. As we breathe and grieve and rest and regroup and lean into one another here and calm our nervous systems, there are organizations that have been bravely fighting this, including during Trump's first term and all during and Obama. Not new organizations. The American Civil Liberties, they published page ads this week with the head, "We're the ACLU and we're not moving to Canada." I loved that. There's Indivisible, there's Planned Parenthood, there's GLAAD. Side with Love, the National Center for Transgender Equality, local groups like East County Rising and Oregon Voices for Justice. There are a lot fighting the good. Perhaps you've seen, as I've seen, the gusher of social media posts from folks wondering what country they should move to now to insulate themselves from another Trump presidency. Well, here's my take. Unless you are a member of an identity group that is at serious in the next 4 years, I would say stay here and fight for the America you are now mourning. Besides, the idealized and romanticized view of living abroad, well, it's not all tapas, cocktails, and sunsets. And when this realization sets in, you might find that it's not the country you abandoned when things went sideways. In 2007, the poet Lawrence Ferlinghetti wrote in his work entitled Pity the Nation, so timely. Pity the nation whose people are sheep and shepherds mislead them. Pity the nation whose leaders are liars, whose states and whose bigots haunt the airwaves. Pity the nation that now raises its voice except to praise conquerors and acclaim the bully as hero and aims to rule the world by force and by torture. Pity the nation that is money and sleeps the sleep of the too well-fed. And oh, pity the people who allow their rights to erode and their freedom washed away. My country, tears of thee, sweet land. A moving, heartbreaking wake-up call. Yet the next 4 years, but I also pity a nation where millions of people do not understand the consequences of tariffs or the ramifications of deporting the folks who diligently harvest our lettuce, or that the president has no control over gas prices, isn't going to hand a new house to every American. I pity the disease of conspiracies, coarseness, and cruelty. That said, I want to love my country enough to fight for its best qualities and its worst instincts. If you are watching and you are an LGBTQ couple who wishes to marry, please email me about officiating a wedding for you. It's my gift. And let others know outside of our community. If you're a woman of childbearing age, make a plan. If you are trans and need protection, we are a community that will strive to protect you and help you find other resources. Just today, I posted on our Facebook a posting from a trans colleague that was a checklist from an attorney about what trans individuals might want to think about right now. Are not misplaced, and we cannot let it plunge us into a functional freeze. This is a moment for deliberateness, care, thoughtfulness, and coordination. To give space for the magnitude of today, recognizing that we will discern together the actions needed in the weeks and months ahead. And it will be imperative to all of us, individually and collectively, to reground in the spiritual we have been cultivating for so long. Brene Brown, a champion of vulnerability, offers the idea of microdosing hope to keep us going. Our own UUA released a number of statements this week, but they also released this message of hope, courage, and solidarity. And I ask you to hear it as a this beloved community. it says, "Beloveds, we hold our fear together. We will honor our rage and devastation and grief. We will hold one another ferociously, tenderly, faithfully, and then we will move deliberately. We will invest in trust. We will claim and sustenance. We will resist en masse. We will fight fascism, continue to struggle for democracy. We will continue to build and support our movements for justice, our efforts, and abandon distractions for danger. We will leverage our resources. We will sharpen our skills and our analysis. We will act as if no person is disposable. We will refuse the politics of division and despair. We will fight for peace, both here and abroad. We will use the wisdom of elders and history and weave deeper connections with our neighbors, especially those who disagree with us, and the conditions of possibility. So may it be, as we endure bravely together and sing our strong, melodious songs and seek harmony in the cage. Blessed be, blessed we, bless this country. And amen. Our closing song is "This Land Is Your Land." Please rise if you're able.
Each week, we at Eastrose take an offering to support this church and to share with the nonprofit. This quarter, half our offering will go to NAYA, Native American Youth and Family Center, which serves Native Americans, infant to elder, from across the Portland metropolitan area. Their aim is to enhance the diverse strengths of our youth and families in partnership with the community through cultural identity and education. They believe that traditional cultural values are integral to regaining sovereignty and building self-esteem. NAYA values respect for the environment, places the community individual, and involves elders. They promote healthy living through positive alternatives to high-risk behaviors and promote the values of sobriety, family, stability, culture, active lifestyles, and education. If you are attending online, you may donate by visiting our website and clicking the donate button, or you may scan the QR code on the screen. If you are here for the first time, we invite you to let the basket pass by and truly be our guest. The gifts of the will now be most gratefully received. I'm going to need 2 helpers. The teal hymn will screen. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here, that is far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. I don't have a reading. I don't have a reading for this.
As we extinguish our chalice, we carry the light of our community and our faith with us into the week ahead. You're welcome. Our benediction today is adapted from Thessalonians. Go out into the world, have courage, hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil, strengthen the faint-hearted, support the weak. All may we come back together again next week as a beloved community to love, to care. Amen. Just if you want to grab your coffee and come back in here, we'll have a discussion about what happened this week. Tyler?
That's our hymns. It's time for announcements, and there's a couple announcements to deliver themselves. So, Jean.
We have had peace as a theme today, and the Portland Peace Choir is doing a free concert November 23rd out on the boulevard where the sign up for flowers is right now. I received this from a friend I had lunch with the other day. She sings in the choir, Patty Pomerantz, and a lot of you know her. Anyhow, I'll put this up on the bulletin board.
Thanks, Jean.
On the 23rd of this month, our church will be used as a meeting place for the Friends of Peace, and we will be doing a workshop, bringing people together, teaching them how the process works, and inviting volunteers to come and help out. Unfortunately, I will not be able to do it for that. Now, the other part of this that is important for us to recognize is that while they were here, they are going to plant more trees on our property. We will have a new silver leaf oak evergreen. We will have a ink and I can't remember, it's a one that goes totally yellow in the fall, and then a crepe. So they will all be planted. That weekend they will bring us little flags for me to stick in the ground and show where I want to have them. So we're going to have that set up in advance. They'll come out in advance, dig the holes. But if anybody wants to be part of that or to learn what Friends of Trees is about and to be here on that day, I encourage you to come. It'll be Saturday morning. I can get you more information if anybody's interested. And I don't know who the proctor is for that gathering. We need to make sure that there's somebody set up and let them know. So, but that will be in the morning and a good part of the day on Saturday. Then they'll spread out into the neighborhood and plant 60 more trees.
All right, there's other announcements in Petals, and if you don't receive Petals, let us know and we'll sign you up. It's our newsletter. So I want to thank all the people who helped us today with this service. A lot of help went into making it successful, and the choir especially, thank you for beautiful, beautiful music. I want to thank Mary for her lovely performance as always. Reverend Robin, of course, for adjusting the sermon to fit the outcome. For AV, we have Phyllis and Luna, and then it looks like Cheryl and Kim were our greeters. I'm not sure exactly if I missed someone there. April, okay. Thanks, everyone, and the service is now over, and it's visiting time. You are invited to remain and have some coffee. After service, we'll have a gathering back in here. Yeah. And we hope to see you all next week. Bring a friend.